Well, a dramatic move taken tonight by U.S. President Donald Trump. In his daily update on the coronavirus, he announced he is halting funding to the World Health Organization over its handling of the global pandemic. So for more on that, let's go to Washington and the CBC's Katie Simpson. So Katie, why did Trump do this?
Well, this is hundreds of millions of dollars that are on the line right now for an organization that's trying to deal with a global pandemic. Donald Trump announced that as the U.S. investigates how the World Health Organization handled the outbreak, and while he made accusations that the organization is China-centric, he announced that there would be a review of what the World Health Organization did in the initial stages of this outbreak. And until that review is done, all funding to the World Health Organization from the United States will be stopped. Here's a little bit more about why he decided to do that.
As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability. One of the most dangerous and costly decisions from the WHO was its disastrous decision to oppose travel restrictions from China and other nations. They were very much opposed to what we did. Fortunately, I was not convinced and suspended travel from China.
Now, there are a couple of things to put in context there. When Donald Trump says that he suspended travel from China, that's not exactly accurate. He did impose travel restrictions. Yes, that is true, but there is not a widespread ban. That is not what the United States did back in January, even though that is something that he claims and does so repeatedly. There were restrictions, yes, absolutely, but not there. Another thing to keep in mind today, Donald Trump, the president, went on the offensive, really going after the World Health Organization. While he's done that before, today's press briefing is different because it comes a day after he really found himself on the defensive. There was a story in the New York Times published over the weekend, a really detailed story that goes blow by blow about how the Trump administration responded to the initial outbreak in the United States. And there's really a 6-week gap in that timeline where the U.S. may have been too slow to enact measures to protect citizens. And it appears this reporting really agitated the president. And when he faced a number of questions about it yesterday, he attacked his political opponents, he attacked the Democrats, he attacked the media. He even went as far as to play a campaign-style ad, which is being described by some news outlets down here in the United States as outright propaganda, because the video clips display his response in the most favorable light possible and don't include the other side or some facts that are really pertinent to what's gone on here. So the president is finding himself on the defensive, having to explain how his administration responded to this. And while he's dealing with that, he's trying to shift blame to the World Health Organization, launching an investigation into how that organization handled the outbreak, accusing it of being China-centric. There are some issues with China being transparent, whether it was transparent or not with the rest of the world. But Donald Trump really taking his frustration out right now on the World Health Organization.
There's also a power struggle between the White House and state leaders about how to reopen the economy.
Yeah, there are. So there were two main headlines coming out of this news conference. One, the United States is going to stop funding for the World Health Organization. And two, Donald Trump is going to speak with governors on Thursday, having a conversation with them, allowing them to make some decisions about when they're going to reopen their economies. Now, it is up to the states at this point. They're the ones that impose the stay-at-home orders, not the president. But he said that some of those states will be allowed to reopen before May 1st. He says that some of those states that are not hard hit. He says that he's willing to step in if there is a problem in a state and he thinks it's unsafe to reopen. But he's he's trying to give permission to these states that they can go about their business and enforce whatever provisions they see necessary. It comes after a very public fight with New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who said that the president simply isn't true when he claims he is the absolute authority on this.
The president's position is just absurd. It's not the law. It's not the Constitution. We don't have a king. We have a president.
Now, Governor Cuomo announced yesterday that he and the governors of 6 neighboring states are going to be working together to come up with some sort of regional plan to reopen the economy over the next few months. Remember, New York is the hardest hit part in all of the United States, with more deaths there and cases there than some entire countries. Also, Governor Cuomo said that if the president tried to lift restrictions there and he wasn't ready for it, that he would see the president in court.
Katie, thanks for breaking it all down. Appreciate it.
Thanks.